This is a tough one
Yeah.
to even talk about,
It
It's the
is.
story of Abrar Fahad.
It really is.
It's one of those that just it stays with you
Absolutely.
long after you've heard it.
Yeah.
And we've got a lot here.
We do.
We've got, news articles, court documents,
Mm-hmm.
even a short film,
Yeah.
all trying to, I guess, make sense
Right.
of such a senseless loss.
Such a senseless loss. It's a tragedy that forces us to confront some really harsh realities about Bangladesh,
Yeah.
about student politics, freedom of expression,
Yeah.
and the struggle for justice.
Absolutely. And we're going to try and kind of unpack this whole story for you.
Okay.
It starts with a promising young student, Abrar Fahad,
Mm-hmm.
who's 21 years old, a second-year student at BUET,
Right.
the Bangladesh University of Engineering and Technology.
BUET is considered one of the top institutions in Bangladesh, really prestigious.
Wow.
So, you can imagine the hopes and dreams that Abrar carried.
Yeah, I mean, he was clearly a bright young man, dedicated
Right.
to his studies.
Absolutely.
He actually chose engineering over his mother's wishes for
Interesting.
him to become a doctor.
Wow.
That says something right there.
It really does. It speaks to his determination,
Yeah.
it seems like.
Yeah, and he wasn't just focused on academics either.
No.
He was active in various clubs at BUET, including the Energy Club.
The energy clubs.
So, it seemed like he was someone who wanted to make a real difference.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, he seemed like he was firing on all cylinders,
Absolutely.
Great future.
And then on October 6th, 2019, everything changed.
Right.
Abrar's life was cut tragically short right on the BUET campus in his own dorm,
In Sherry Bangla Hall.
Sherry Bangla Hall.
He was brutally beaten to death by a group of 25 fellow students.
25.
25. And what makes it even more disturbing is that these students were all members of the Katra League.
The Chatra League.
Yeah.
That's a name that's come up a lot in the sources.
Right.
Can you explain their significance?
They're the student wing of the Awami League, the ruling political party in Bangladesh.
Okay.
So this connection really adds a layer of complexity to the whole case.
Yeah.
It's not just about student rivalries.
Right.
It intersects with the political landscape of the country.
So this wasn't just a random act of violence.
You're right.
There was a motive, a plan behind it.
That's what the evidence suggests.
Okay.
Days before the attack, there were messages in the Chatra League group chat talking about teaching Abrar a lesson.
Wow.
It seems that his social media posts, particularly on Facebook, had caught their attention.
Okay, so what was he posting that would provoke such a reaction?
Well, Abrar was critical of certain government policies,
Yeah.
specifically some agreements with India.
Right.
He was expressing dissenting views, and it
Right.
seems like this was not tolerated.
So they targeted him simply for expressing his opinions.
It seems that way.
It's chilling to think about.
It certainly raises serious concerns about freedom of expression, especially for those who criticize the government.
Absolutely. So walk us through what happened on that fateful night.
So Abrar had just returned to the dorm after a short break to prepare for exams.
Mhm.
And that evening, a group of Chatra League members confronted him
Okay.
in his room and took him to another room, room 2011.
This is where the nightmare begins.
This is where the nightmare begins. They started by going through his phone and laptop, focusing on those Facebook posts.
Right.
They interrogated him for hours,
Wow.
trying to extract information about his political affiliations.
So it was basically an unlawful detention and interrogation.
Exactly.
Right there in the dorm.
Right there in the dorm. And it quickly escalated into violence.
Yeah.
They beat him for hours with cricket stumps, a skipping rope, their fists, anything they could get their hands on.
And according to the autopsy report, Abrar died from severe blunt force trauma.
Yes.
It's hard to even imagine the suffering he went through.
It's truly horrific. And what's even more disturbing is that throughout the ordeal, his pleas for help were ignored.
Wow.
They even contemplated handing him over to the police, framing him as a member of an opposing political group.
They were willing to go to any lengths to cover up their actions.
It seems so. Around 3 a.m., Abrar's body was found on the ground floor of the dorm. A medical officer pronounced him dead at the scene.
And was there any CCTV footage?
Yes, CCTV footage showed individuals dragging his body, and there were even reports of BUET officials interacting with the suspects shortly after.
So raising serious questions about the initial response and potential cover-up.
Absolutely. It's very suspicious.
And how did his family learn about his death?
That adds another layer of tragedy to this story.
Okay.
They weren't informed through any official channels.
What?
They found out through roundabout means, from a student who knew Abrar's brother.
Oh, wow.
Imagine receiving news like that, not from the authorities,
Right.
but from someone who just happened to know your son was in trouble.
The lack of transparency, the delay in information, just adds to the pain and injustice.
It does.
This wasn't just a personal tragedy.
No.
It sparked nationwide protests.
Yes,
Right.
it did.
People demanding justice for Abrar.
People were outraged. They were demanding accountability for those involved and calling for an end to the culture of violence and impunity, especially within student politics. And these protests, they really brought to light a lot of the simmering tensions within Bangladeshi society.
Yeah.
It wasn't just about Abrar's case.
Right.
It became a symbol of a larger struggle against political oppression.
Yeah.
The shrinking space for dissent,
Right.
this deep-rooted sense of injustice.
And what about the legal process?
Right.
Did anyone face consequences for this horrific crime?
25 individuals were charged and convicted
Right.
in connection with Abrar's murder.
Great.
20 of them received the death penalty,
Wow.
and 5 were given life sentences.
Those are incredibly harsh sentences.
They are.
Does that mean justice
Yeah.
was served?
It's complicated. While the convictions are a step towards accountability,
Right.
Abrar's family still feels that true justice remains elusive.
Okay.
3 key figures identified as instigators and leaders in the attack
Right.
are still fugitives. They haven't faced any legal consequences yet.
So the fight for justice continues for Abrar's family.
It does.
It must be incredibly difficult to find closure
I can't imagine.
with those responsible still at large.
It must be just agonizing for them to
Yeah.
know that those who orchestrated this are still out there.
Absolutely. And Abrar's parents have been very vocal about their pursuit of justice,
They have.
emphasizing that it won't be truly served until every single person involved is held accountable.
Right.
What about the impact on BUET itself?
Mm-hmm.
Did this tragedy lead to any changes within the university?
BUET implemented several measures following Abrar's death.
Okay.
They banned all student political activities on campus,
Okay.
increased security measures, and introduced stricter disciplinary codes.
Those seem like positive steps, at least,
They do.
to try to ensure student safety.
Yeah.
But, did those measures really address the root causes of the problem?
That's the question many are grappling with.
Yeah.
Some argue that banning student politics altogether
Right.
is not a sustainable solution.
Right.
You know, it could lead to further alienation and
Right.
potentially push dissent underground,
Okay.
making it harder to monitor and address.
So it's a complex issue with no easy answers.
There really isn't.
You're trying to balance safety with freedom of expression.
Absolutely.
And that's a real tightrope walk.
It really is.
This case has clearly had a profound impact on Bangladesh,
Yeah.
both within and beyond BET's walls.
Mm-hmm.
It's been 5 years since Abrar's murder,
5 years.
and it seems like his story continues to resonate.
It does. It's a story that just refuses to fade away.
Right.
Abrar's death became a catalyst for a much larger conversation about the state of democracy in Bangladesh.
Yeah.
It's the role of student politics
Right.
and the urgent need for a culture of tolerance and respect for dissenting views.
We've seen efforts to memorialize Abrar and keep his memory alive.
Yes, we have.
Uh.
In 2022, his younger brother, Abrar Fahad,
Okay?
made a decision that really struck me.
Okay.
He enrolled at BUET
Wow.
in the same department that Abrar was studying in.
That's incredible.
It is.
Choosing to follow in his brother's footsteps at the very place where this tragedy happened.
Exactly.
I don't know if I would have the courage to do that.
It's a powerful statement.
It is.
Some might see it as an act of defiance,
Yeah.
a refusal to be intimidated. Others might interpret it as a testament to the enduring power of education, even in the face of unimaginable loss.
Yeah.
But it's certainly a testament to his brother's memory
Absolutely.
to continue that legacy in a way.
There's also a short film, Room Number 2011,
Yes.
which was released just last month,
just last month.
which I thought was very well done.
It's very powerful.
Yeah.
It's a poignant exploration of the events leading up to Abrar's death and its aftermath.
Right.
And it doesn't shy away from the difficult questions.
No, it doesn't.
It forces viewers to confront the realities of political violence and its impact on society.
You know, art can be such a powerful tool for processing trauma,
It can be.
for raising awareness,
Absolutely.
and for demanding change.
Absolutely.
And just this month, on the 5th anniversary of Abrar's death, a foundation stone was laid for a memorial in his name.
It was.
There have also been calls to declare October 7th, the day after his death,
Hmm.
as National Anti-Aggression Day.
Right.
These are all important gestures,
They
but
are.
they also raise a question.
Okay.
What will it truly take for Abrar's death to lead to lasting change in Bangladesh?
That's the question that lingers, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's about more than just memorials and symbolic gestures, right?
But
It's about tackling the underlying issues that allowed this tragedy to occur in the first place.
it's about addressing the culture of impunity,
Yeah.
protecting freedom of expression,
Absolutely.
and ensuring that universities are safe spaces for all students, regardless of their political beliefs.
Regardless of their political beliefs, absolutely. I think that's a key takeaway here.
It feels like, Abrar's case
Yeah.
is really a microcosm
It is.
of much larger issues
Yeah.
that Bangladesh is facing,
Yeah.
and perhaps, many other countries as well.
It brings up uncomfortable questions about the relationship between power, politics, and individual rights,
Yeah.
How do you ensure that a society, especially its youth, can engage in critical discourse without fear of reprisal?
Right.
How do you hold those in power accountable,
Yeah.
even within institutions that should be safe, like universities?
And these are challenges that go beyond Bangladesh's borders.
Absolutely.
So where do we go from here?
Yeah.
What can be done, not just to seek justice for Abrar,
Right.
but to prevent, such tragedies from happening again?
Well, I think it starts with awareness.
Yeah.
Yeah. Stories like Abrar's need to be told and retold. We need to shine a light on these issues, not just within Bangladesh,
Right.
but on a global scale.
Absolutely.
International pressure,
Yeah.
human rights organizations, independent media, they all have a role to play
Yeah.
in pushing for accountability and change.
It's also about supporting those who are fighting for justice and reform on the ground.
Absolutely. Yeah.
There are brave individuals and organizations in Bangladesh
There are.
working tirelessly to promote human rights,
Yes.
to protect freedom of expression,
Hmm.
and to challenge the culture of impunity.
It's about supporting their efforts,
Right.
amplifying their voices,
Yeah.
and providing them with resources.
Yeah.
It can make a real difference.
Yeah.
It's about solidarity,
Right.
not just sympathy.
And perhaps this is also a moment for reflection.
I think so.
Even for those of us who are far removed from the situation in Bangladesh,
Yeah.
what lessons can we learn from Abrar's story
Right?
about the importance of safeguarding democratic values, even in our own communities?
It's a reminder that freedom of expression is a fragile thing.
Mm-hmm.
It needs to be constantly defended.
Yeah.
It's a reminder that power, whether it be political or institutional,
Right.
can be easily abused if not held in check.
Yeah.
And it's a reminder that the fight for justice is an ongoing process.
Absolutely.
One that requires vigilance,
Mm-hmm.
courage,
Yeah.
and a commitment to speaking truth to power.
This deep dive has been incredibly difficult,
It has.
but also incredibly important.
It has. Yeah.
Abrar Fahad's story deserves to be heard
Absolutely.
and his memory honored.
Yes.
We can't let his death be in vain.
We cannot.
Let's hope that it serves as a catalyst for lasting change,
I hope so.
not just in Bangladesh, but wherever freedom is threatened and injustice prevails.
I think that's a great note to end on.
Yeah, I think so too.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for taking the time and helping us unpack this very difficult story.
Absolutely. Thank you.